Chair. Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry. The minister's calls have been used in respect of this. Then. Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. I call the Honourable Anne Tolley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I go on to talk about social development, I just want to make the point that I think while we all agree that there is huge issues in the Auckland housing market, actually the average house price in Kawerau is $53,000. And the there we are, you see. So I encourage young people to come and move to the Eastern Bay of Plenty or to the East Coast, because housing is great, the weather's great, and life is pretty good, and there are jobs, particularly at this time of the year, in seasonal harvest jobs, and of course the pack houses of the Eastern Bay of Plenty are going full tilt with our very valuable kiwi fruit crop. But Mr. Chairman, I'm very proud to stand here tonight as a minister in a national government that has focused on supporting vulnerable New Zealanders through some of the toughest times that this country has ever seen. So this government has made no apologies for the fact that we have not brought in any austerity measures. We have supported vulnerable New Zealanders, vulnerable families, and in particular vulnerable children throughout those very difficult times. And even in the last year, the budget year that we're talking about, this government has made significant moves to make sure that some of the most vulnerable children in our community are supported. The passing of the Vulnerable Children's Act and the Children's Action Plan that listed out a whole raft of initiatives to be completed by both government and the NGO sector, focused on making sure that children who have the right, and we're talking about human rights, have the right to grow in a home safe from abuse, in a home that is warm and well insulated, and this government has a good record on that. And as I say, I'm very proud to be part of that government. In addition to that, we are very focused on breaking that cycle of welfare. And we are working extremely hard, both with sole parents as a group and with people who are able to and ready to go back into the workforce, to make sure that we support them into work in order to break that cycle of dependency. And the stats are really good. About 1,600 people a week going off welfare and into work. That is a tremendous outcome, not only for the government and the taxpayers of New Zealand, but for those families that are able then to stand on their own 2 feet and be independent. And we know that work is important. It's important to people's health, both physical and mental. It's important to the social fabric of our communities that we have those people working, and it's always sad when the opposition don't support us in the efforts that this government has made to get families back into work. I think one of the areas, Mr. Chairman, that we are most proud of is our work with youth. And over the last 12 months in this budget year, the youth service has seen 4 out of 5 young people who've been enrolled in that youth service, that is, those youth who are living away from their families, and also the ones that we talk about as NEETs, they're not in education and training that the youth service picks up. 4 out of 5 of those young people we have been able to re-engage in some form of education, training or in-work training. And I think that's an outstanding result for young New Zealanders. In fact, that resulted in this financial year we're discussing here in an 8% drop in the number of those 15 and 16-year-old youth service enrolled youth, an 8% drop in the numbers that went on to a youth benefit, into a full benefit at age 18. If we can stop them going on to a benefit at age 18, we have a very good chance of helping them live full and successful independent lives, raising their families and becoming full and participating members of our communities. And the reason that that's so important is because we have good data now, good data that tells us that a child born into a family that is reliant on a benefit, that cycle of dependency that we talk about, that child has a 25% chance of receiving a SIF notification and a 24% chance of substantiated abuse, against the rest of the population who don't rely on a benefit of a 2% chance of receiving a notification to SIF. That, Mr. Speaker, will keep our children safe.